We should be live. Let's see. I'm gonna hit this one more time. I think we're good. So what's up, everyone? This is Ruben Garcia, Proven by Ruben podcast, and I had to invite Mike. Let's do Mike Glaspie to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. So if you could tell the people what you do, how you do it, who you are, all that good jazz.
All right. So as I said, I'm Mike Glaspie. I'm currently active duty military, and I have been actively involved in real estate investing for a little over a year now.
Wow.
My primary focus is buy and hold, with the intent to build passive income and achieve financial freedom. So that's the whole point behind that.
Gotcha. So what got you started in real estate investing?
Actually, so I've always had a kind of a entrepreneurial spirit. I've always tried to find different ways that I can generate income outside of my day-to-day job.
Right.
You know, I think I want to be able to own my own business and not have to rely on a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I started looking around. I was doing many different things, and I actually went to a 3-day seminar focused around real estate.
Okay.
And that's when all the light bulbs started clicking. And I was like, oh, there's something else out there that I can put a lot of energy in and create financial freedom through this type of vehicle.
Gotcha.
So once I started looking at all the benefits to it, all the tax advantages and things like that, I decided let's go ahead and do this full steam ahead.
That's awesome. Cool. So you said that you've always had entrepreneurial tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
So how early did you feel that first entrepreneurial spirit start building up, and what did you do? What did you flip? What did you tell me that story.
I was and I'll tell a lot of people the story too, but I was a kid, maybe like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and elementary school, and I would sell Pokemon cards.
Oh.
I'd go get those little booster packs from the store.
Oh yeah.
I'd sell all the energy cards for about 25 cents. Holographics were like $5 a piece.
Yeah.
And that was my first real hustle. After that, I sold candy in middle school and stuff like that. But it's always been what else can I do?
Yeah. So I got a question. When I was, because look, I still got Pokemon cards. All right, legit nerd over here. All right. So one of the things they used to tell us was the only way that you could tell if these cards are real is if you rip it, and you see a black kind of. It was the paper, and there's like this black film in the middle. Mm-hmm. Did you ever do that? Have you ever heard that?
Never heard that.
Okay. I screwed up a lot of my cards. Yeah. Trying to find out if it was real then.
No, yeah, I guess so. My target audience, my clientele, they didn't care about that at the age of 5 or 7 or whatever that was. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend had a good hustle doing the same thing, and he expanded into eBay. And
nice.
He would show me. He would just sit there and he'd hold out his phone and he'd say, "Watch this." When it come closer to the end time that you can bid, it would go.
Yeah.
And then it would just get higher and higher. And I was like, "Whoa, what are you doing here?" And I guess it's the same type of hustle minus eBay, but you had that end consumer. You knew you bought a ton of them. You could flip the super easy energy cards and get deeper into the other ones.
And it's funny you say that because it's so intuitive.
Yeah.
Even at that young of an age, you can see what the market really wants.
Right. And
you could be like, well, if I provide it, I can make money from it. And it's such an intuitive thing that I think people overthink that a lot nowadays.
Right.
Everybody's like, what can I do for money? Let me try this side hustle. But it's really, if you just sit back and think about it, it's really right in front of you.
Right. So I think our audience is people who are just now getting introduced into real estate investing or just thinking about it. And I also think that we have some people who've done it for a while, right? So if we could just start off kind of newbie stage, what would you say, and of course there's all types of different vehicles, but what would you say is the initial vehicle, like the first thing I should start in if I'm thinking about real estate investing?
Okay, so that depends.
Okay.
It depends do you have money to invest now, or do you have no money to invest?
Right.
Generally, real estate requires money. It requires capital.
Right.
So it's either if you have it, let's go ahead and start using it, or if you...
you have a guest in the line.
You're good.
Or if you don't have it, who's that? Or if you don't have it, you have to try to raise it or save it or put it to the side.
Right.
So for those who don't have capital, one thing you can do is wholesale, right? Which is generally selling the contract in an all-encompassing sense. Or you could do what I did, which was bird dogging, which is like referral fees.
Gotcha.
So I find a deal, but instead of putting it under contract, I find a buyer for the seller, and without any contractual obligation, the seller just pays me a referral fee. Bird dogging.
Gotcha.
And that may not be as lucrative or as capital intensive as wholesaling, but
Right.
it's a start.
Right.
You start
Right.
building it up.
Yeah.
And on the other side, if you have the capital, you could do flips,
Right.
or you could immediately go into buy and holds.
Right.
Me personally, I would prefer buy and holds
Mm-hmm.
because of all of the advantages that comes with buy and holds.
Right.
You have all the tax write-offs, you have the appreciation, you have the
Mhm.
amortization, you
Yep.
have the consistency of the cash flow,
Yep.
and everything else like that.
Yeah, you and I were talking about this because back in, well, I would say back in the day, but it wasn't too long ago.
Mhm.
We were looking at wholesaling, and we
Yeah.
have conversations about wholesaling. And now we reached out to each other not too long ago, and we start talking about buy and holds
Mhm.
and what the advantages are in buy and holds. And in my world, the way I'm looking at a buy and hold is say, hey, not that I would, but if I want to sit home and watch Ren and Stimpy all day,
Right.
I can still have cash flow coming in, right? I
Right.
mean, and not that I would do that, but I would have the freedom to
Mhm.
have money coming in, right? I build an investment or a portfolio that has money coming in to where I can go do more of what I enjoy, which I'm sure will just do nothing but produce more income,
Right.
correct?
Right.
So is that kind of the same gist that brought you to buy and hold, or at least most of your focus on buy and hold?
Absolutely. So, like I said, I've been active duty military for a long time. It's been about 9 years now. And before that, I've obviously held different various jobs and things like that. But ultimately, just as you said, you find yourself needing to pay those utilities, needing to pay whatever it is. And so
Yeah.
you're almost, in a sense, a slave
Yep.
to the job.
That's right.
And because of that, it's like you may wake up dreading waking up. You may dread
Yep.
not being able to hit that
Yeah.
snooze, but
Yeah.
you have to go.
Yep.
So if I can generate something, or if I can create something that can support myself, my future family, and opportunities like this to do podcasts, to give back,
Yeah.
then why not do that? It gives me
Right.
the freedom
That's right.
to do all these things.
That's right.
And so for me, that was definitely the number one motivator.
Got it. Are you starting to see yourself? Well, maybe a few things, right? So are people coming and asking you questions? How do you do this? Yeah. Are you starting to see yourself? Isn't it funny how life just kind of works out to where you take action, you screw up a lot,
Yes.
and then you have some wins, which is great.
Yep.
But those screw ups become learning moments not only for you, but for the ones who are now asking you questions on how you do this or what should I watch out for.
Yep.
Right? So if you could throw something out there, what is something I should watch out for when thinking buy and hold for my first, second, third investment?
Okay. So you should watch out for if you're going to go in for buy and hold.
Yeah.
Then you should definitely do your research along the way. And what I mean by that is some people will say, hey, I want to do a buy and hold, but I also want it to be a flip. I'm going to manage the property myself.
Right.
And so they go in, head first,
Yep.
which is fine, but they may bite off more than they can chew.
Right.
And they may say, I still got to find contractors. I got to buy and hold. You can do, so say you have a primary residence right now.
Yep.
You can find another house to move into, to live in and fix it up for a future flip and then rent out your own one. You can do something along those lines. You can do turnkey. There's a lot of turnkey providers out there that will find you the property, fix the property, and provide a tenant for you, and all you have to do is purchase the property. So there's a lot of different ways to get that first buy and hold.
Yeah.
As you continue to grow, now you can start looking at more creative ways. So for example, my first buy and hold was actually is something called a subject to, and without getting too creative or too in depth, it's called subject to in some place or deed in lieu of. And what I was able to do was basically go into a property, simply pay closing costs to transfer that title to my name,
Right.
and the property was mine. I had a tenant in it in 3 weeks, and I'm instantly getting cash flow. Now at the end of it, I'll be selling it here in about 3 months. At the end of it, I'll be able to sell it, and whatever that profit margin is, I'll be able to keep it.
Yes.
Now that money, I'm going to turn around and buy another buy and hold.
Gotcha.
And so I turned a $1,200 investment into a whatever the amount may be. Ultimately, it's an infinite investment if I can turn
Yes.
around and put all that money back into a new property.
Yes, yes.
And as you continue to accumulate more and more properties, you skim off that cash flow, you skim off that equity through refinancing or whatever,
Right.
and you go and continue to build that portfolio.
Burr.
You get burr.
Burr.
Exactly. You burr.
Burr.
You burr. You burr. You burr.
Yeah. So the wife bought this this mat outside the door, right, when we're walking in to our house, and it's a winter mat, and it says BRRR.
Nice.
R, I think. And I was like, It's funny how your
Yes.
mindset starts switching.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you start seeing everything and anything that's either trying to tell you that this is what you should invest in, or trying to teach you what you need to know in order to invest in something. But it's funny when your mind switches that you even look at a mat and you start putting a formula together when you see burr. Awesome. So that's one house that you're selling to get more equity to invest into another buy and hold. Now, is that going to be enough equity to do 2 buy and holds? Or is it just, do you already have your eye on this 1 buy and hold that you're going to be moving forward with?
So the equity really depends on a few factors that hasn't been established yet. So for example, if I can sell it to the tenant that's currently occupying it, then I won't have to necessarily worry about realtor commissions. Right. 2, if I can do something similar to a 1031 exchange and get rid of the taxes implications. So it really depends on a few different factors that are going to reduce
makes sense.
reduce the amount that I can actually keep in my pocket.
Yep.
But besides that, I feel like based off the numbers, even if I do pay commissions and taxes on it, I should be able to put down a 20% on a conventional loan for a property that's somewhere around $60,000 to $70,000.
Nice.
And as long as the numbers are right, I should be able to cash flow about $200.
Cool.
And so therefore it'd be smooth.
So what's the high? So you say 60, 70, right? What's the highest you'll go?
For me, I don't currently for a conventional loan.
Yes.
I don't want to go any higher than about 85,000.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So we're looking at 80.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was like, so cool.
It's right.
So
So it's right there. It's right there.
Okay. All right. So you got the price point. What else are you looking for in a good buy and hold?
Okay. So there's a general rule of thumb out there in the buy and hold community, if you will. It's called the 1% rule. So basically, your gross rent should be 1% of your purchase price. So if you bought something around $80,000, your rent should be at least $800 a month.
No doubt.
And so that's a general rule, and it's good because it protects you against the market value going up and down.
Which, by the way, would you say that we're at the highest levels right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
In history.
So more than and I know that they speak it at KW that the market's it's gonna shift.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna shift
downwards,
right?
Down.
All the data says it. So would you say that? And I'm sorry I feel like I cut you off.
No, you're fine.
So you can punch me as soon as the video quits rolling. You can you can hit me with a hook. Would you say that is not only building buy and hold where we have that passive income is protecting us, right? But would you say staying closer to the lower price point right now, because we're predicting a shift in the market to where people will not be getting paid as much as they would have in the past, or they may lose their home and they're looking for lower priced properties. Is that looking at the data, is that one of the reasons why you chose for 85,000? Yeah, same here.
Exactly.
Same here.
When you look at the effect, and this you can do case studies, you can read back on it. Back when the financial crisis hit in 2007, 2008, 2009, the markets that were affected most were the markets that were inflated. Those high-priced homes. Those lower-priced homes really weren't affected that much.
Right.
So you're protecting your equity. You're protecting the value that you own and your net worth by purchasing and focusing on these smaller priced homes or these lower-priced homes. And then when you find that 1% rule, you're protecting your cash flow, and more than likely at that price point, your vacancy rate will not be, as volatile.
That's right.
So those C-class, B-class homes are my primary focus.
Yep. I think the highest rent, I want to say it's either 8 or 850. Something's telling me say 850, but I'll say 8 for safety, right? And that's the highest, and we had 2 for rent in a month, right? And both of them rented out in less than 30 days. And right now, we're pulling cash flow. And when you have a fixed rate, while inflation happens, right, and as time goes on, you're paying this while rental income starts doing
steadily
this,
increasing,
right? So it's It's just one of the reasons. I'm just getting off on it.
Yeah,
Just
no, it's a
I
beautiful
like the
thing.
buy and hold.
I love it. I love it. And then when you look at it, you have potential appreciation of the property.
Right.
So if you do a conventional 20% down, right, and you put down say $20,000 on a $100,000 home,
Right.
you have your immediate cash flow that gives you a cash on cash return.
Yep.
You have the equity being built year by year.
Yep.
That gives you another percentage on your cash on
Yep.
cash. You have the potential for appreciation.
Yep.
And then you have all of your tax write-offs.
Right.
You have cost segregation for your depreciation. I mean, there's so many things that people don't realize that, yeah, I'm making an income, but I'm saving so much money as well.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
And then we can even use those depreciations to offset income from our W-2 or offset income from someone else.
Yeah.
And so buy and hold, in my personal opinion, is the way to
It's
go.
the jump.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's kind of cool is the money that you're leveraging if you're financing, right? The money that you're leveraging, which by the way is cheap. I know it's at like 4% and it just climbed past 3%. It's still cheap money, right? And you're leveraging that money, so someone else is paying off the money for you.
Yes.
That in turn you can get the equity out to reinvest into another
Yes.
property. So someone's helping you reinvest in another. And by the way, it's a win-win, right? Not only does it help you, but you're helping out someone who may not necessarily be able to buy, right? Or they want to stay low, or they don't want to be hooked into a mortgage. And they're cool with renting.
Right.
It's such a win-win-win-win investment.
It's a win.
Yeah.
It's a win.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, you're providing affordable housing for somebody who appreciates that, especially when you want a single family things. And I do want to grow into multifamily. When you look at a single family, people come into that home, they treat it like it's theirs.
Yeah.
You know, that's their piece of land
Yeah.
that they may not be able to afford, or they may not want to be locked down to.
That's right. That's right. So, price point. We talked a little bit about what we just talked about, and so what else are you looking for in a property? Right. You got the price point 80 to 85. Location big factor. If so, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So location is huge, and so I look at varying factors. I want to look from. Since we are looking at the C class and the B class, we're looking for the working class community. So I'm looking for places that have multiple industries centrally located around that city. So military bases are huge, but if they had something like a military base plus a Goodyear factory plus something along that nature, or a sports team or something that may draw people in and keep them there because that's where the jobs are.
Yeah.
So a lot of places right now that are really coming up more and more as I'm doing more research is like Iowa, Indiana, things around that area, because they're primarily factories and old school jobs. They're just like blue collar workers.
Yeah.
So I'm looking more and more into those, but location is definitely driven around the market where high or low vacancy rates are, high rental rates are, things of that nature.
Yeah. So looking at our market, to be very specific in our market, Fayetteville, Hope Mills, Sanford, like we could just stay in this market. What market do you feel is underpriced right now, and that you are kind of betting on that will be kind of get in early type of location? What town, city? What are you looking at the most?
I will tell you this, in our local area.
Let's see if we're both hitting on the same one.
So I've been doing a lot of reading and studying with the Chamber of Commerce and things that are coming up in the future.
Yeah.
I will tell you, right near downtown.
Yeah. For sure.
Right there on the southern side of Haymont, right downtown Main Street, Street. There's supposed to be a minor league baseball team stadium being built.
Oh yeah.
About at the end of 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
Now this is the time it would be to start buying some of those properties around there, because once that gets built, tourism is going to be a factor.
Yep.
If the minor league team does actually move down here, that's going to be a factor.
Yeah.
And I think that those property values are going to start raising right around 2020, right around that time.
Yeah.
So it would be like, okay, if you get it in now, can you hold it for 2 years, and make it profitable? But I think that would be the area. Besides that, right outside of Hope Mills area, I think is really good. There's that Goodyear factory just off to the southeast. Obviously, you have Bragg centrally located. I think Rayford is growing, but because 295 has been developed up now towards Spring Lake and Cameron, I think that area is going to be extremely popular too, because of the commute to Bragg.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So I haven't, and it's funny, I have not even looked at Spring Lake, and I don't know why. Nothing against Spring Lake. Right. I just haven't looked at it, which is interesting that you say that, because that makes complete sense. I mean, I skip around everything before you know it. I'm in Spring Lake.
Because
that
that
makes
new
sense.
construction.
Yep.
Now, when people are coming in, and I say this because I've spoken to my property managers and other people who are PCSing or are moving to Fort Bragg for the military. When they're calling, asking questions about places to live, the hot spots that pop up to them is right up there. Not as far as Eastover, but up in that area towards Spring Lake and 295, as well as Rayford. Those are like the hot spots that they're being told to look for homes.
Right.
And so I think that in that northeast area, prices will start rising a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and just backtracking the Haymount area for the baseball stadium coming for sure. What do you have? Okay. I think so fast. I asked myself 6 questions, and I'm like, crap, let me pick one of those.
Right.
One is, if someone were to hold it for a year or two, right, to get it built and then start building up demand for this baseball stadium, once demand has hit, would you say that Airbnb would be a great investment in that area for a higher return on those properties? And because, as they want to stay closer to the game, there could be that Airbnb opportunity. Also, have you ever looked into Airbnb?
I actually have, and I'm looking at doing a miniature version of a house hack and renting out like an upstairs portion of my house for Airbnb clients.
Gotcha.
But I have looked at Airbnb, and I think one of the important factors of Airbnb is one of the supply and demand things. So is that area going to be in demand?
Right.
So I currently have a home in Cameron. That area, to me, doesn't seem like it's going to be very high in demand. Now, if it was in Southern Pines or closer to one of those golf courses, potentially during golf season, tournaments and things like that.
Yeah.
The Haymount area, I feel like will definitely be in demand, especially during baseball season. Once that place gets built.
Yeah.
I feel like Airbnb is definitely a come up, and for those who have property now, but are hesitant to commit to maybe a full year term buy and hold, or hesitant to hire a property manager to do it all for them, I think Airbnb is a great entry because it gives you a little bit of everything. Yeah. You have that one person stay for 2 days. Yeah. And then you're like, I don't ever want to do it again. Close down my account. Right.
Oh yeah. I guess if you look at that, it's kind of like a trial period.
Exactly.
Like dipping your toes in the water to see how it feels. But would you say that if they said no, this isn't for me, did they pull out too early? Right, because any type of investing, anything that we jump into that we know is going to be uncomfortable, right? And if we allow it to feel uncomfortable for a little while and then we jump back, we never really get deep into that investment. So, but it is a kind of a cool thing to look at. That you're right. You got a year lease, 2-year lease, which on one of our properties I got a 2-year lease.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
I know. It's like one of those things. It's like I like it. But we'll see how it goes. But I think that's really cool. It's a really good, and when someone asks me, I'm going to say, hey, why don't you try Airbnb? Get a good feeling of it. That's a good point. That's a really good point.
And when you say don't pull out too early, if you think about anything that you do in life, it all takes time to actually see.
Not in real estate investing, though.
Oh, of course. No, never in real estate. No, definitely, especially in real estate. So if you were to do a workout regimen, you're not going to see results in 3 days. You're going to have to see it over 6 months or whatever the case is. And in real estate, especially buy and hold, you're not going to see the equity build out. You're not going to see the tax benefits. You're not going to see anything until you really hold on to it for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Right. And then you're really going to start seeing that net worth grow, your portfolio grow. Yeah. So it's the same concept. You have to hold on. Yeah.
It'd be interesting if this was something they taught in school.
Yeah.
Like let's just say high school. Let's just say high school. Not even middle school. I think they can start getting the concept. Right. Oh, I think elementary. How much stuff are you flipping and like handing to friends and what's it called when you're trading things? There's a cool word for it.
Barter.
Barter. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't know that was a cool word.
I think it's
cool. Like barter.
Yeah. But you're learning this stuff at a young age. But let's just say high school, right? High school, they teach this. You get your first buy and hold at 18 when you graduate. 10 years later, you've had an investment and you're 28 years old, which is still crazy young. It's interesting if they would start breeding that type of focus. And here's the thing: if that's not your focus in high school, cool. If it's band or whatever. But if they had that one class, could you imagine what we would have?
Things would be so drastically different. And it's funny you say that because it's a lot of times it's about the exposure
Right.
that you get at a young age, right?
Right.
What are you exposed to? What's your environment?
Right.
The people you hang out with,
That's right.
what your parents know.
Yep.
Because my parents didn't know anything about this.
Right.
Didn't know anything about investing or anything.
Yeah.
And they did great. They did what they were supposed to do in raising me and making sure I was disciplined.
Yes.
But because I wasn't exposed to it, I had no idea what was out there.
Right.
It was the same thing when I pursued college and everything else. I just went because I knew that was the thing to do.
Right.
Right. I
Right.
didn't know anything about college. I didn't
Right.
know what prestige meant. I didn't know what
Mhm.
student loans meant.
That's right.
I just went and got the degree.
Yeah.
Which is funny that you mentioned that, because one of the reasons why I want this passive income is so eventually I can go back and speak to those high schools, those young adults,
That's right.
and start educating them
Yep.
on, like, look beyond.
Yes. Because like you said, it's just Kevin, I see you, man. He does podcasts.
Nice.
Calling in. No. And like you said, it's like that exposure.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you're looking to do, is just expose.
Expose them. That's it. Just let them know what else is out there, what's available.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Spark some interest, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I think you would, no doubt. Even if you had a room of 20, there's someone that goes back. See, here's the thing, right? It compounds. So yeah, even if they hold on to it and maybe they're still questioning it, and they mention it to a friend, and a friend's like, let's go into this, but that friend wasn't there, and then they could partner us, so it just compounds. And yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes we just need to be exposed.
Yep.
And that's what it goes back to, and would you agree with this? You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Jim
right?
Rohn said it himself.
Yep, Jim Rohn.
Some of the 5 people that you hang out with most, or
Yep.
something that you surround yourself with.
Yep.
And I completely agree with that. And it's funny that you actually mentioned that, because once I actually read some of Jim Rohn's books a little over a year ago, that's when I really started realizing that that's very true.
Oh yeah.
And so I kind of started changing who I associate with. Not that there's nothing wrong with
Right.
it,
No,
but it's
agreed.
just, it was different mindsets,
Exactly.
and I'm
Right.
trying to elevate.
Right.
So I wanted to be amongst a mindset that, synced more
Yeah.
with mine.
Yeah. So with that being said, and you don't have to say names,
Mhm.
what are the mindsets you're surrounding yourself with now?
So I got rid of Johnny. Johnny.
Why you say?
No,
I'm
dang,
Johnny,
I'm playing.
tune out.
No, I'm kidding. So the mindsets, it's actually funny. I can't remember who said it, but they said when you surround yourself, that also includes by the books you read,
Yeah.
by the audio that you listen to,
Right.
and things of that
Oh
nature.
yeah.
So
Agreed.
that counts as the group or the peers that you're with. So for me right now, I'm heavy on Darren Hardy,
Yeah.
The Compound Effect. Obviously, all of Robert Kiyosaki's books and
Yeah.
his whole advisory team. So
Right.
Barry Sutton, Tom Wheelwright. I have read Tony Robinson, but right now John C. Maxwell is another big one.
Yeah.
And Malcolm Gladwell is another big one that and then Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
So all these guys right now, I'm reading all their books. I'm in there. I'm listening to their podcasts, to their
Yeah.
audios, getting my mindset right, and then I'm evolving for the real estate side of it. It's Bigger Pockets, which
Yep.
you put me on.
Woo!
Yep.
Free.
Lifetime Cash Flow by Rod Cleef.
Yeah.
Or Cleef. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. Sorry, Rod.
Comment below.
Yeah, and Clayton Morris Invest,
Wow.
who was an ex-ABC reporter
Yeah.
and now has his own little real estate thing.
So it sounds like you didn't make excuses because of the physical people you have around you that you could touch, and saying, oh, I don't have a strong circle around me. I mean, and for everyone at home, you can extend it past the physical realm that you're in right now by reaching out to a podcast, to audio like you're doing in books. I mean, you shouldn't you shouldn't look up and say, oh, this is where I'm at.
Right.
Because you can escape that. You can build your own reality through the podcast and through the books.
Exactly.
And you're doing it.
Exactly.
You're actually taking that, which, by the way, brings us to that. Once you do learn that, and you start listening to podcasts and stuff, it takes action, right?
Right.
You got to actually do something. It's cool to say, and it's cool to throw back, and it's cool to surround yourself with those people. But what they're saying is real because they've been through it. Now it's your turn to take action.
I completely agree. And part of that taking action was reaching out to you a little over a year ago. And one of the things that you put me on was The One Thing.
Yeah.
The book, The One Thing. And so in that book, it talks about setting that goal.
Yep.
And then setting subsequent goals to
Yep.
build up to it.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's almost like you have no other option but to take action.
Right.
Because you've made it so simple now.
Yeah.
It's like,
right, chunking it down.
Right. By the end of the day, I just need to do this.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you get it done. You're like, well, that was easy.
Yep.
Let me continue down, and
Yeah.
then you start accomplishing those goals.
That's right.
So, if you're out there hesitant, that would be the advice that I would give is one, read the one thing
Mm-hmm.
and understand how to
Nice.
break it down, and then actually just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Nike.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do it. Love the one thing. Absolutely love the one thing, because you'll look at it. A lot of us get busy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then we'll feel at the end of the day like, man, we did a lot. What did I really do?
Right. Right.
What did I really do? And then you're like, oh crap! Now tomorrow I have to do everything over. And what am I accomplishing?
Yeah.
Like, what am I shooting for? And the one thing really, you look at everything, and you start scraping off stuff off your plate.
Yeah.
The stuff that doesn't have to do with anything
Yeah.
of your, like, does not bring you to your goal at all. It's just busy work.
Yep.
And if you break it down to what's the 80-20 rule,
Yep.
what's the 20% what's my 20%? What's the thing I should be focusing on?
Mhm.
Such by focusing on it makes everything else easier or unnecessary.
And you can delegate or get rid of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Cool. I'm going to hit you with a few questions I have here. You ready for this? I didn't prepare him at all, guys. Like zero. He's pretty darn amazing, though, huh? All right.
See what these questions.
Yeah.
Me, I didn't do it.
Yeah. No. Let me go to it. Let's see. Where you at? I'm starting to listen to Tim Ferriss a lot, and he has he has these really great questions. And so a lot of people at home, what I want you to do is steal everything. Okay? So if you hear a great question and you know it'd be great to ask someone, take it. If you see a good plan or a good model or a good system,
Right.
take it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yep. So getting creative, sometimes you can get lost,
Yeah.
right? Just follow the fundamentals first and then get crazy
Yeah.
creative, you know?
I completely agree.
All right, so let me ask, what do you believe separates excellent from average?
Okay. Believe it or not, it's the fundamentals. So what I'm going to do is revert back to one of my own personal experiences. In my specific career field in the military, we are known as we do things that other people typically don't.
Right.
But the reason why we do it is because we harp on the fundamentals, and we get so good at the fundamentals that it doesn't matter if it's dark, if we're tired, if we're injured, if we're whatever, we revert back to the fundamentals. And so it's one of those things that says practice makes perfect. It's really perfect practice makes perfect. Because when you do the fundamentals so well and so consistent, you're immediately revert back to that. And that's what I think excellence is revolved around. It's somebody who's practiced the fundamentals so much that it doesn't matter how tired they are, how stressed they are, how little sleep, how little food, how whatever, they're going to execute at that bare minimum flawlessly.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Do you have a favorite failure that you believe has set you up for success?
Favorite failure.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them are my favorites.
What's the one that rattled you the most to where you were like, never again? Or something that rattled you enough where it shifted your focus right towards not doing that again, but kind of going around it and succeeding at something?
Okay, so I've always tried to set my own path in my family, and so with that being said, I was the first one to join the military, but I was also the first one to go to college with the potential to actually graduate. So when I went to college, I actually had an academic scholarship originally. I had a 4.0 my first year, moved into the second year, and maintained it for a little while, and then I let the party life get a hold of me, the college life. And what resulted out of that was I ended up losing my academic scholarship. And so at that point in time, it shocked me because I had, accomplished so many things in my perspective, so many things at such a young age that my family hasn't done yet, and I was doing it to prove a point to my little brother and my little sister and things like that. So at that point in time, I was like, okay, now I need to tighten up my bootstraps. I need to refocus. So I at that point in time, I told myself that no matter what I do, I'm going to give it 110%. If I fail, I fail. But that way I can't say that I was weak enough to follow, the social norm, or weak enough to be convinced not to do my best and things like that. So I think that one specific moment was probably one of my favorite failures.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Going down, let's see. Okay, here's a great one, and probably pulled out of the one thing as well.
Okay.
What have you gotten better to saying no to?
Oh, going out.
Oh, yeah. Roll right into it. Set you up. See how I set you up?
Yeah,
Pretty good at this thing.
I like it. That was pretty good. That's pretty clever. Yeah, just being so I don't go out often. I really don't. But every now and then, you'll say, hey, let's go get a drink, or let's go grab some food, or whatever. Right. And you'll find yourself doing that potentially Friday night, potentially Saturday night, and then you notice that you spend $40, $50, whatever, on the meal plus the drinks. And
plus the time, right?
Plus the time. 2 or 3 hours or whatever it is. And I've noticed that there's really no benefit to it.
Yes.
There's good company, it's fine, but there's no benefit to it. So I found myself really reeling that in, and to make up for it, I'll let myself go out maybe once a month, but I'll try to have it in-house. So I'll say, hey, why don't you guys come over? Or why don't I come over to you? And you'll find that you'll spend less money doing that, and you'll have even a better time, because you're not worried about the community around you. You're just having fun with your friends. So I think that's one thing I've gotten a lot better at saying no to.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I 100% agree with that. And just to go real quick, I was going to college, I was raising my daughter, I was working at UPS, and I was trying to do this real estate thing. And, some people, you're forced into really looking at your time, studying it and saying, okay, something's got to get, I cannot hang out just for the sake of hanging out. Right, so there's nothing out of this that's going to get me to where I need to go, or nothing that's going to get me, or what can I pull out of this that's going to get me out of my current situation.
Exactly.
Right, I'm investing in the wrong thing at this point.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's really good. All right, so here we go. Nope, I already said that one. All right, so this is the last question, okay? If you could only work 2 hours in your business, what would you do?
Only work 2 hours?
You only got 2 hours. Weird. It's no longer a 24-hour day. Just showed up. It's a 2-hour day. What are you going to focus on?
So, okay, if I had 2 hours to make sure that my business was running well. Ooh, that is a good one. Okay, so I'd probably talk to the managers, that work for me, because I've subtasked everything out to different managers. And I'll make sure that all the numbers we're running as efficiently as possible, and then I would focus on acquisition. I just focus on acquiring more. That's a really difficult question, because 2 hours goes by extremely fast.
That's right.
It goes by extremely fast.
Yeah,
I would just make sure that everything's running how it's supposed to, and I would try to acquire more.
Gotcha.
Make more of an issue. For 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because Grant Cardone says, you need more problems.
Yes.
And so it's funny that you make sure the problems are kind of in a line. And then you think acquisition to make more problems.
Make more problems. Right? Let's go, yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. We're going to have you back. And this was our first podcast. Hope you liked it. Comment, message me. Any questions that you have, we'll see what we get to a little bit later. But it was a blast, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
I appreciate it. All right, let's see if I can do this the right way. Boom. Oh, rip that off.